For my next trick. No!
When we were done with Daredevil, we were saying, what is the biggest opportunity for us now?
From the beginning, we always talked about doing two separate standalone movies, Daredevil and then Elektra.
Elektra, she understands guilt and punishment.
How do we make the show look good, and how do we do it in the amount of time? You know, we'd love 70, 80 days to shoot this movie. We just didn't have that luxury.
They don't all have to be super huge and hyper speed fast. But I thought, this might be, I don't know, it seems to me it might be different.
He was single-minded about one thing. It's about her.
I didn't set out like Columbus to discover a new land. It was just sort of what was facing us.
In order to make sure that Elektra felt as a standalone, as its own movie, we wanted out of New York. That world is Daredevil's world, and they will intersect, and they have intersected, and that's fine. We protect that for Matt Murdock. We decided we wanted to take this to a different place. Originally, we talked about starting this in Greece, and seeing her origins with the Nachios estate, and her father's life, and her Greek heritage. But what we decided is that we would just pick up Elektra at a point where she was mid-stream in her career.
There were some big challenges in bringing Elektra, particularly Elektra the character, to the screen, you know, off the page into the movie. First of all, at the end of Daredevil, she's dead, so there was that, which is a challenge. And she also, in the comics, as I understood it, she's a cold-hearted killer. She's an assassin. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have family. She's not necessarily likable. And then there's the minor point of Marvel asked us to make a superhero movie out of Elektra, and Elektra, in all of the comic book stuff and all the incarnations, doesn't have any superpowers. She's just a killer.
We gave her these superpowers because another thing about Elektra that needs to be there for the character to work is that she has to be the most kick-ass, super coolest action hero. And so in order to make that happen, we gave her Kimaguri, her abilities, and we sort of made them abilities that would dovetail in a little bit with the comic book. I mean, they add more powers, but at the same time they also explain her strength, the way she came back to life, and they sort of become a part of her.
We spent a glorious afternoon at Avi Arad's house pitching Jennifer Garner our outline for Elektra, and it was great. She took great notes, she asked smart questions, and at the end she just said, go right.
For the core of the movie, we went to Greg Rucka's Wolverine Elektra Redeemer, and from that storyline we drew Elektra's relationship with a young girl. In that comic, her name was Avery, and we took that relationship and made it the sort of central relationship of the movie.
We figured if we could really tap into her humanity and show an audience how she ended up this way and why she ended up this way, that we could overcome that biggest challenge, which is making her likable.
We loved that idea of here's this, assassin, a woman whose history, she was abandoned, her father was killed, her mother was killed. The parallels were fantastic.
We were actually told at the very beginning of the process, Jennifer had said this to us, and then Fox had said, yeah, go along with it. New Regency said, go along with it, which was no romantic interest. And so we just wrote the movie with a hint of romance between a character named Jonan and Elektra. And Abby's father came in later in the movie just as the man who had gotten Abby into this bad predicament that she was in. And then once we were off the movie and Zach started writing, they did the wise thing of bringing sort of Jonan and Abby's father together in the character of Mark and create a great relationship between Mark and Abby.
When we were starting to put the directing thing together, another aspect of this choice was because both Jennifer and Goran have television series and there's a limited amount of time in order to shoot the film, we had to find somebody that, one, creatively understood the movie and could, you know, give us the look and the character journey that we were looking for, but also somebody who could do it with a level of speed.
I met Rob Bowman, I don't know, 3 years ago. And we were talking about different Marvel things and projects and so on. One of the projects he actually was interested in is Elektra. We were sitting in this room and he was looking at this incredible Elektra. Everybody would look at this one. But when he came to the movie, he had a very stubborn vision.
Through invitation by 20th Century Fox, I'd been sent the script 2 or 3 times, and I know it had been written quickly by Zach. And the first couple reads, I didn't get it. Once I really understood and started to applaud what Zach had hanging from his dialogue, the stuff in the invisible ink, I thought, ooh, there's a lot more here that he's suggesting. He's just written a very economical script and not written it all out. So you just got to read and then sort of look down the side of the page where there's nothing, and between the lines where there's nothing. It's like, what's he saying?
When we sat down with him after he had read the material and started talking about what he wanted to do, I started to smile because he was not talking about all the visual effects. He was not talking about how, you know, every shot would be this and the stunts would be that. His first instinct was to talk about the character journey of Elektra, and that his way into the movie and the reason he was interested in doing the movie was because he wanted to take this journey from darkness to light.
He was single-minded about one thing. It's about her. The whole movie is going to be about her. It's going to be a character journey of this girl, which from our side of the world, it's music to my ears, because this is the thing we always have to fight for. Stay to character, stay to character. On one hand, you have to create a commercial movie. So if you get too indulgent in character and then you don't deliver the roller coaster ride, that's dangerous. He got it all.
I didn't like the Elektra script early on. And then when the elements came together with Jennifer as a cold-hearted assassin, that's interesting, sort of, you know, contrasting the role. It's going to be tough, a new challenge. Can I do it in the amount of time? What am I going to do? Once I got into the specifics of the challenge, then I knew I was going to learn something about myself, too. And that's always fun when you're making a movie, is going places inside of you that you might not have been, and coming out of it on the other end, maybe liking what you learned, maybe not liking what you learned, but you're going to be a little different. And I thought this was going to be tough enough that it's going to change me a little bit, hopefully for the better. Here's that effervescent young lady who's not going to get a break in between 2 television seasons, and she's just the life of the party. She's so positive. You know, this was, I think this was week 1. It might be like day 4 of the movie. And at this part of the schedule, the whole movie is ahead of you. It's overwhelming to think what you've done and what you have to do. And you're standing here trying to be perceptive and absorbing the nuances of the actor's performance. And I think what directing has helped me do is just to live in the moment and not project anxiety over the future, over tomorrow or the next day. Because if I allowed myself to worry about the things, the problems I have yet to solve, then it would preoccupy me from being there to help the actors and being aware of the nuances of Terrence and Jennifer and Goran and lighting and camera movement, all that kind of stuff. You gotta be right there with them, because they are. they're only in the moment. They're standing there thinking about their words and their performance. And when you say cut, you know, one, they want to know that you liked it or didn't like it. Two, are you aware of what I just did? They ask. And if you stand there with your eyes glazed over, like I'm overwhelmed about all the work I have to do, then they'll check out. They'll go back into their safe place. They won't give you the extra little bits in the performance because they think they're directing themselves. And so I want them to know that I'm always right there with them. Hopefully I'm inside their head, and that the little things they do that might not be seen by people standing on the set, might be seen only by the camera lens, that I can see it as though my head is looking through the camera lens. And if I do say, oh, I like that little shift of the eye you had, and it seemed like without an audible growl, you sort of growled at them. And if you recognize the little things they do, then they'll continue to do those. And you don't use them all, but you're right there with them. And cut!
Cut!
Brennan, beautiful. Single on Terrence.
Chicken. Okay, chicken tire, please.
108 kilo, take one. A mark.
Yeah, B mark.
And action.
Tell her who you really are, Mr. Miller.
Terrence has his eyes shut, and he just doesn't want to make a mistake. He doesn't want to make the scene about him looking blind with his eyes open. I wish he had. We went back and redid it, but I understood what he was thinking.
You always had a gift for Ninja.
He is the omnipresent goodness behind the whole story and guiding her journey. Tough love by definition, but you know, he's got more experience than any of us, and you know, you different than us kids making the movie, Jennifer and Josh and I and all us guys. We have Terrence Stamp on the set.
They've sent Kirigi.
Shit.
Our craft, you know, is becoming increasingly difficult as the art form becomes more and more technical. That the kind of bit of carpet that actors stand on is shrinking by the hour, you know. So I think that any chance we get to do what we do, we do. And I think what's nice about Rob, so far, I mean, I've only worked with him for a few days, but I think that he's, it's heartening that, you know, when you do something good, he knows it, he's onto it. He's not one of these directors that, you know, when you give him a wonderful take, he makes you do it a dozen more times just to make sure he's got it.
From moment one, I saw Terrence Stamp in this part. I mean, to me, General Zod is still one of the great characters in comic book history. And he is a sly fox. He's a tough guy to get. And we finally got him to come in and meet with us on his way up to Ojai. He gave us a half an hour from the airport before he got in his car.
I'm awed with him, like the ultimate fanboy. It was ridiculous, right? I'm walking into the room and like, I can't wait to shake your hand. And he is, forget it. He's about, well, I'm here. I have my friend, my girlfriend is there. I mean, this guy is like, you know, I can tell there's no anxiety. And therefore it's hard to land. How do you get to a guy like that? So, okay, I work, I don't work. He is bigger than life.
Rob, Avi, and I wanted Terrence badly. So we approached him, and he was cagey, and well, I don't know, and whatever. We just kept pursuing and pursuing and pursuing, and I think we wore him down. And finally, he said, okay, I'll do the film.
Oh, Cam. I mean, it was 300 people ready, and keep working, sir.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
108 Fox, take three. A mark.
I'm human. You got to do what you got to do. I just wish you did it like a century faster.
Action.
God damn it, you son of a bitch.
I was a little anxious because the move is unusual. He wraps around her and she gets bent over backwards.
Move your hair, Jen, before you come up. There.
He's obviously a legend. He has been working steadily for a long time, and he has the stories to show for it, so he's so much fun to have around. But it is a challenge to do a fight with him.
And action.
God damn, you son of a bitch.
Cut. Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Cut.
The first time that Terrence and I had a scuffle at all, he would stick his hand out and I would kind of have to move my head to where his hand was supposed to hit me. And we ended up with a couple of gouges to the face, but everybody was okay. And he does an incredible job of keeping those big, beautiful blue eyes vacant. And you know there's still so much behind him.
You have a weakness for blind guys. Why are you laughing?
Because my feet are off the ground.
Okay.
I'm holding myself up amazing.
This is great looking. Well, this, it starts with, picking the right location. And then for the depth, I'm all the way back up against the back wall. I mean, the set only extends another 5-6 feet to camera right there behind the camera. And then it moved through Graham Murray's artful strokes of the colors and painted the floor black and the walls what I described as Russian red, because he made a Russian set for me on the X-Files, and the doors were this deep, deep red. And so that's what he painted. I thought it was quite funny, actually. He painted the walls Russian red and the ceiling black. It's really striking. And then we got a lot of light coming through the windows, which means we can stop down a bit and get those deep, deep blacks.
The pool hall, it's pretty cool. We were trying to contemplate how we were going to do this. We had the lights obviously screaming in from the windows, and those were like, it's like the 5th story, and we had all these lights pointing in and doing all this. And then, you have HMI outside, the blue light streaming in, and then we have tungsten inside. We didn't want smoke, because it would just wash everything out, especially the lights screaming in. Everybody had a short prep. I mean, Rob, I think, just started a couple weeks before I did. We just decided, listen, we're all going to get into this and we're going to go and do it. And, we just jumped on the bandwagon and we basically worked 6-7 days a week the whole time. Listen, I've been offered a few jobs as features, and I've always said to myself, everybody says they have to do a feature, they have to do a feature. And I didn't have that urge to do one unless it was the right one, especially the first one I did. And it's funny, I always said this, if I was going to do a feature, the first director I really wanted to work with was Rob. Because I knew that he's very into the camera and the look and all that. And he'll make listen, we had a lot of lousy scripts on X-Files, and he made them a lot better.
I really enjoyed working with Bill on the X-Files down in Los Angeles. So I thought, I have to tell you, I didn't just call him and go, hey, you want to go make a movie? And he said, yeah. I called him, and he was working on a TV series. And I said, Bill, you've got to be bored. There's so much more in you than that show requires of you. Not that it's a bad show and not that you don't do a great job on it, but there's just too much of you. I know there's more in you. And, your kids are getting to a certain age where, why don't you try it? I'll be there. If it's not working, I'll take the hit. I'll say that I lit the set and it didn't work, and I'll take the fall. But you might like it, and you might want to have a little change of direction in life, or you might want to have different options in life. And I fully believe that you can do it. There's no doubt in my mind. As a matter of fact, I'm certain you can do it. I just have to convince you to get to Vancouver. And, he had to leave a steady job. He just sort of, darn it, he closed his eyes and jumped, which I really applauded. Let's just go do it and see what happens.
Got print next.
Cut. Nice, Jennifer.
So I'm looking at at Graham Murray's model of Mark's house, and we're deciding, what the path of the ninja is, and I'm trying to design my layout for the first assault and their path of exit and his approaches. And I have to build the set according to the way I've designed it, and moving walls around. That was me describing what I'm doing to Gary. Because of the speed of things, I might not have made the sequence up until the layout until the night before, or even the morning of, because we were just that tight on the schedule. And Gary just wanted to know what I was planning, and hopefully he likes it, because it's a little late to change it. Here's my little ballerina. God, she moves so well.
Manage, take one. The only mark.
I do a lot of camera cutting. This shot goes here, this shot goes next, and you really can't flip them. And so I have to accomplish something very specific in each shot. The fun of it is laying out a puzzle where the pieces can only go in a certain order or place. The scary part is if it doesn't work, you don't have a sequence. Then the great reward at the end is when you cut it all together and it does work. It's a lot of fun to design sequences like that. And, you know, maybe it's because I've done it a lot. And which makes me wise, experienced, and maybe aging.
Sorry, hang on.
And you don't want to waste time or actors' energy on shots that if you can anticipate aren't going to be in the movie. And Jennifer, I really had to monitor her energy expenditure.
Here we go. Ready. Say when, Jen. Good?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how hard it is to go from a series like Alias, is working as hard as she does. In this particular case, she finished the marketing and the publicity for her first lead movie in 13 Going on 30. She had not a free moment of time for months, knowing that she had to come up here, be ready, show up, and be Elektra. Physically, emotionally, I mean, how anybody could pull that off and not have a nervous breakdown is unbelievable.
Oh, sorry.
That's no problem. That was my fault.
I met Jennifer during her lunchtime at Disney.
Action.
Number one, she said, "Are we going to make a good movie?" And I said, "You betcha." "Okay, how are we going to do that?" "And what about this in the script, and what about that in the script?" I said, "I'll fix it." It's just, you know, they're never going to really polish a script until a director comes on board anyway. So I'll get us to the promised land of, you know, we'll all feel good about what we're doing before we shoot it. She was worried about the time we had to shoot it. And maybe she was thinking about, you know, Daredevil took this long. And I said, well, we're not making Daredevil. And we're not making Daredevil. We're not intentionally not making Daredevil. This is just, we're going to just explore a very interesting character. And I don't need a lot of undressing around it. So I'm not worried about the time. It will be tight, and we're going to be tired when we're done. But I think we'll be okay. I think she felt that there was a lot of hesitation from the studio about going forward. And as there was with me, who said no to the script twice, but this is her face. And you don't get to ascend too many times in this town and go up and go down. You kind of get one shot. You get one big one, and they'll forgive you for a couple of bumps, but not many. And I promised her that there would be nothing but all of my resources and efforts, and crewing with a very specific kind of crew, people that I was familiar with who could shoot at the pace I wanted to shoot. She just wanted to be reassured that she wasn't going to go sell a movie that we didn't do a very good job of making, and I said that wasn't going to happen with me, that it would be the very best movie we can possibly make. And I got a hug when we left, so I guess it ended up okay.
Let's go down and shut the door for you.
There, now you're even.
Did you see that? Nice. Ragdolled me.
See it?
Okay, so Johnny.
I need a lot of wing room.
Yeah,
Got
move on to the.
I love this character. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for her. I mean, I would have devoted a year to her had I known that this was really going to happen. But I wasn't going to let that be an excuse for giving her any less of a life than she deserved. So, although I'm not a martial artist, she is clearly one of the most skilled in the world ever in all of superhero time. So I have poured my heart and body and soul into giving her everything that I can.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sitting down. Don't be mistaken. I'm not relaxed there. God, she moves so well. Yeah, body control is amazing, and you know, the more days I had with Jennifer and watched her move, it expanded the possibilities of what I could do with her in terms of the action sequences, and when I could have her face tied in. She's not going to like you for putting that angle in there. keeping her face and performance and character involved in the action sequences, even at the most intense moments, that we didn't have to double her for a lot of stuff.
That's my girl.
Tail on B.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, smack it.
I'm probably begging her for another take here. Oh no, I'm lining up a shot.
So he's on frame left, you're on frame right. And then when you wind up, now he's going to cross for you. Boom. Okay?
Apple 93 Tango, take 3.
Okay.
A mark.
B mark.
Pace.
Really snap it, Aaron.
Action!
Damn!
Reset!
Hey, Dave Gautier, why don't you come and show our cast where your dynamite is placed?
That's going to be in the same shot?
Oh, yeah.
This is a walkthrough for the ninja attack on Elektra, Mark, and Abby. I can tell you, anytime I'm standing like this, my watch seems to speed up, because if I'm not rolling the camera, I'm not shooting the movie, and the anxiety level is slowly rising. But this is an effects moment. I've got a young girl and actors and other people on the set that you have to go through and let my good buddy Dave Gautier explain to us, where the debris is going to be coming from so we can do it safely. And inside of me, I'm thinking, how fast can I go do a safety walkthrough? Because we're not shooting, which means I'm not getting closer to finishing my day's work. This movie in particular, than others I've done, was really tight schedule, and there were some days I shot where I didn't have time to explain what I was going to do to what I describe on the moment, and trust me, it'll go together. So here we're about to do a take with the squibs, and watch our eyes as we run past the. Yeah, see, we got the squibs at eye level there, and young Kirsten right there with them. You're trying to manage the balance between creating an exciting sequence for the audience and then wanting nobody in the process to get hurt, because it is just a movie and not worth harming people. There's my energetic cut, and I seem to be rather animated there, and I've been told that I'm animated when I say action and cut. I just want everybody to know how I feel about what we've just done.
Victor 85 Jackson, take 1. B only mark.
And 3, 2, 1, action!
Go!
This is after the initial attack. I'm going to put a lot of CG darts in that sequence. It's great to watch it third person like this, but I can tell you that the shots in the movie are a lot more energetic than that looked. That didn't look so exciting, but it is in the movie. Must have been another take or something.
Shoot. Great. All right, didn't we?
Bam!
Goran Vishnik, somebody that obviously watch on TV all the time, and I'd seen a lot of his movies, and terrific actor. He came in and auditioned, and we saw a lot of guys for this part, but Goran he's tall and he's strong and he's big and terrific actor, and we like the idea that he actually, has a little bit of an accent. He's not just some pure American Western guy, his Croatian background, not that we touch on it in the film, but there's a little mystery to it.
Mark and Abby, they don't want to do anything to demonstrate their skills in front of Elektra, especially Abby, because she's a treasure. She's the one who is expert in martial arts, so we're trying to hide that. So Jennifer and I were always joking that Mark is a wuss character of the movie, he's like always, Elektra, can you save me, please?
We showed Jennifer his audition, and she, was blown away by him and loved him and knew of him. And, part of it is just, instinct. Some of it is luck. But I think we all talked a lot about what we were trying to accomplish with this character, and Goran fit the bill. In terms of Abby, we saw young girls from all over North America, the United States, and Canada. Tough, we needed to have an actress that looked the part, but most importantly could engage. Jennifer being the consummate actress that she is, and Terrence and Goran. We needed somebody that could go toe-to-toe. It's a very important part in the film.
Ready and action!
In my experience, I've done a lot of movies with kids, and if you don't have a kid that can listen and that can understand, you know, some of the subtlety of an adult world, you really get in a lot of trouble.
After those arrows hit you, just give me a half a second so I can go boom and get your face before you drop.
I'm Jennifer on set and Goran. I have been kind of adjusting, like some of these people have been doing these kinds of movies for a very long time. So I feel kind of a little bit intimidated, but it's very easy to get over once, you know, someone guides you to Mark or tells you a little trick, or it's great. I'm learning so much.
Look up, look at the ninja, look up, look up. Look up, look up. Look up to me. Look up this way, look up this way.
I probably never used that in the movie, but it seemed important at the time.
Cut.
There's Big Bob. He's a great sense of humor. I can't remember. He might have complained about something. I don't know. Let me see what that looks like. Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm very fond of Vancouver. I've had a lot of good luck in Vancouver. I chose to stay at the same hotel that I stayed in during all the X-Files years. Being familiar with the, you know, what is available and what's beautiful in Vancouver and how to capture it and what time of day from all the years of shooting it, what time of the year are we in, what time does the sun go down, what time does the sun come up, how to photograph it. It was all just to my advantage in terms of prepping and not spending the entire prep in a van, scouting and learning a brand new location. So it looks great, very lush green.
You're gonna need a bigger stick than that.
And different than Rain of Fire, where I took color away for bleakness.
I think the stick came apart before she made contact.
I wanted her red outfit to pop, and I wanted the mood, the darkness, to be as dark as I could. We went for very heavy colors, not Dick Tracy at all, but very thick, rich colors.
You're gonna need a bigger. I forgot what to say. Okay, I thought it was piece or branch, and I didn't know. Sorry.
It's a lot of stuff. We were in the forest for. I'm sure we weren't there long enough, but we were there a long time.
Let her settle because I want to cut to Jennifer going, ugh.
Okay.
Then you come. All right.
We're midway into the schedule, I believe, on this. And, you know, you're a long way from home and nowhere near finished. And you're just living the movie through your veins. You know, for me, you shot enough film to know what the movie's going to be. It's the promise of what it could be starting to diminish, and it's the reality of the dailies is what it is. That's pretty crazy.
Right here, parallel to me. Oh. You guys, I'll tell you what.
Oh, Bobby Sapp hated this.
Yeah. Whoa, Jimmy. Yeah, I know.
And then I cut it out of the movie.
Now, were you laughing at me over there?
He's got scuba suit on underneath, so they get cold.
Hey. Wow. Should be around there. Wow.
Bob Sapp, who plays Stone, is a superstar. He's one of the top celebrities in Japan and Asia right now. He's a K1 fighter.
What if I went face first in this right now?
He played football at the University of Washington, and I think he had a brief stint in the NFL. I mean, he came into the wrestling thing not because he wanted to be an actor, because this is, you know, something that sort of dropped in his lap, and because of his skills and because of how strong he is, he's winning all these fights. Again, he's not WWE stuff. He's doing K1, you know, all-out fighting, and I think he's undefeated.
Pick her up, Bob.
Cut.
Yeah, it was good. There was no me lifting my biscuit in the air. It was floating. That girl.
Cut. Cut.
136 Juliet, take 3, Bueller Mark.
Cut. Yes.
Good, John. One more time.
Yeah, let's go.
Right away. Mark.
I give credit to Kevin Feige on that one because he had sent us Time Magazine Asia, and Bob was on the cover. And we were looking for some big guy to play this part, and it was just, no-brainer. He's a gentle giant, but a giant.
I want my mommy. It's supposed to be some kind of great, but nothing is coming out. That's the problem. I better not do that. Don't put that part on camera.
This was like a little candy thing.
What does he do? Bob's half suckling on his bottle.
Oh.
It's okay, Bob. It's okay, Bob. There you go. Good boy. Okay, now go kill Electra.
You know, thank God Bob's a nice guy, because that could have been...
That was bad.
God, go kill Electra. Jeez.
I hope that was not on camera. This is not very masculine.
Not at all. 136. Back, no take way. 3. A mark.
E mark.
All right. Not yet.
There's my guy.
Debris coming on 1.
Yes, sir.
And goes on go. And 3, 2, 1, go!
That's Josh McLaughlin playing right in there. You know what? I could tell you what it is. He doesn't want anybody else doing that but him, because it's Jennifer. And he wants to protect her, and he wants to do it just right. And that comes from a protective sense in Josh. Could not have made the movie without Josh McLaughlin. Wouldn't have been finished. Could not have made the movie without Jennifer and her dedication to it. To me, with respect to all those who helped, and there are many, 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 that was the 3 of us who made the movie.
3. Forget about my cadence. As soon as I say go, I'm not going to say Bob. Let me see how fast you can swing it. 3, 2, 1, go. That's how fast you got to do it. Just like that.
Josh is the master of time allotment, knowing how you operate on a set, and knowing where you're going to get carried away, and where he's going to let you get carried away, and where he can push you, and where you don't need to be pushed, you're going to go fast anyway. He's an AD that I will listen to the timbre of his voice and know when I gotta go faster, or I'm making a mistake with something.
Like that would have been too early on Bob. So let's try it again.
Also, set etiquette and set professionalism. You feel like you're working with John Ford's first AD. You feel like you're working with, he's like out of a time capsule.
Guys, check those gates quickly. 15 minutes of lunch, let's get Jen's close-up. All right, a little makeup touch-up, please.
Cool.
We'll go again.
He's my partner on the set, and then off the set, which means as soon as we get in the car to go home, he's my big brother, and he never lets me forget it.
The schedule's difficult. We didn't have time to sit around and think about stuff. I mean, we showed up and we worked. I mean, we did as many setups as we could a day. I don't know, Rob told me the other day we did like 30 setups a day or something ridiculous. Josh kept us in line and organized of what we had to do, and he let the crew be organized. He knew what was coming up, and that was the whole point, is that, make sure everybody knew where we were going next so we could keep ahead, and we didn't have to go somewhere and wait an hour or two to figure it all out. We would pre-light sets before we even got there. We would go in on a Sunday and pre-light sets, or Saturdays and Sundays. We would pre-light them so that we can come in there Monday and be ready to go. Okay, big wind up.
Okay.
And throw it level like a bat, yeah. Right. And as always, less expression's better.
I'm starting to lose my voice there. I lost my voice for about 6 weeks on this movie. We were shooting inside of the Marx house, the stuff we've just recently watched. That was inside of a soundstage with rain, with trees, and it was left closed and unventilated over a 3-day weekend. And we came back, and it was a biology project. So I had gotten a bronchial infection, and, by saying action and cut the way I do every day, I didn't help myself. You're just praying all this stuff's going to go together, and it's all storyboarded. I've already worked it out in models and miniatures, but just trying to keep my head focused into one moment at a time, and ultimately, is it going to be really fun for the audience?
Tony, get another set of dinner mints for Rob.
Dinner mints.
Right here.
There's a scene where a tree falls and Elektra's supposed to swing herself up and go around. In early analysis, we thought that would end up being a digital duplicate of Elektra, and we would do it all digitally because it seemed like an impossible task. And when we sat down and talked about it, I said, you know what, let's build a rig, let's get a stunt double and have them try it. Let's see if they could really do it and what would happen. And they did, and it worked out. So they're going to do it with a real actor. And Jennifer's doing a good part of it, which is, you know, a good tribute to just good training and using real physics again. And you can make something spectacular to watch that a person can really do. And I think on that level, that'll make this film maybe a little different than the other comic book movies we've seen.
Oh, that's the big miniature. We literally had one that was about, you know, the length of a forearm. Yeah, this is to figure out where the explosions are going, and then here's the mock-up. This was really fun to see how Mike and Shauna had designed this. This is escaping from the stick up to there, and up to there, and it's exactly the way it looks in the movie. Isn't that cool? I was so excited. This was a sequence I came up with. Used to have 2 trees in it and then 1, and then it just started making up like what Elektra would be doing. And I never thought they would give it to me because we're gonna have to build a tree that could go up and down. And but it was a kind of unusual, heroic move for Elektra. Basically, she's just running for her life, but turns it back on him. And when I went and saw that rehearsal there with Shauna that now evolves into this, I was so excited. It's one of the things I love about directing is staring at the ceiling, dreaming of stuff. And the next thing you know, they build you a tree and you shoot a sequence and people see it as a sequence in the movie and they love it. And it all starts with just daydreaming.
We're hot and set. And 3, 2, 1, go! Got it, good.
In the explosion this morning, we used SD100s. They're small little charges with, we wrap deck cord around it. We have lots of balsa in it, and then around the base of the explosion, there's the rubber matting that goes around the whole tree, the bark, and it's relatively safe, so people have to be 10 to 15 feet away from it. And as it turned out, everything went extremely safe, and it was a good thing.
Visual 136 kilo, take 3. A mark.
You mark. Go, Mike.
Speed on 3.
Set.
I'm telling you, there was 3 inches between her foot and that explosion.
Shawnee, you all right?
Yeah, good.
Cut.
And Dave Gautier had a laser vision. God, it was nerve-wracking as heck. He was gonna blow her foot off.
Tasted that one.
That was very cool. That's all Dave Gautier.
Thank you.
There he is, protecting her. And Shauna just as courageous and trusting as ever.
Okay.
She jumps up and she lifts up her right leg. If she didn't,
that on, Carrie?
Truncheon in the movie would have gone through her leg. So she jumped. Not only is she getting up there, but she went like, oop, to miss the Jake.
You're showing the action.
Yes.
You on, George?
Shauna, can you do it? Yeah.
Luckily, I do have Daredevil under my belt, and I do have 3 years of Alias, and I do have 3 consecutive, seasons and summers with Shauna Duggins, my stunt double, who is my partner in everything.
3, 2, 1, action.
She is my teacher, and she is, the person who can look at me and just barely start to say something, and I think, I say, wait, I know, Shauna, I need more power from my shoulder, or whatever it is. We have such a great connection that I knew that I'd be safe with her around.
Explosion's already occurred. Action jump. Tree drops. Catch. Swinging. Tree starts to tilt. Got to move because I'm on the wrong side of the tree, and you start to go around. Okay.
Action.
Okay.
This is a little something I'm going to be learning on the go.
Okay.
She makes it look so easy that it convinces me that it's not.
Here
she goes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We have shot in one gorgeous location after the other, and I have to say that Vancouver has made the movie for me. Every day we get to location and I take a deep breath and think, oh, it gives the whole movie the feeling of a summer job to me, because it's so different from what I do normally to be out here and to breathe this air and to see bald eagles and to say, okay, there's a bear wandering around the set, everybody be careful, and to see deer every day. It's really exhilarating.
Cut.
This tree was a remarkable engineering feat. It went up and down a few hundred times, I'll bet, and it's silky smooth. And the path she runs on has been sort of tacky, so she's got good traction.
Huh? Oh, I know.
Set! Call it, Rob. Action!
As soon as you can get up, Jan.
Well, she's just manually being suspended by the safety guys.
Hey, Mark.
That's a little bit overkill there, but here they're a little late on pulling her up.
Pull! Pop it! Pop it!
Wowee! That was close!
You know, I told her I wanted her to run right up the camera, and she did. They just pulled a second late.
And pull!
Ah, shit.
Still kept her safe, though.
Go! And pull!
The wires are there to assist her and keep it safe, not necessarily to exaggerate how far she can go. That's not entirely true. We do things, again, to up the drama of the scene and maybe take things a little bit farther, but we're not just flying people around to fly people.
Action!
Here's a moment of swagger that I took out of the movie.
Is that big enough?
It's not incredibly sexy, but it didn't fit dramatically into the sequence.
Air cannons, 3, 2, 1, down! Action!
Is that big enough?
This is up in the forest, not far from the studio, but this is God's country, no doubt. And we picked actually what do they call a view spot? You know, the little sign says "Great place to take a picture from," and we built our little pagodas and podiums.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks fantastic. Thank you, Terrence and Kirsten. We are ready. Ready and set.
Action!
Backer in action!
The first location we thought was really cool, but it was too far away. We couldn't get there in time. So they built this on top of this hill that overlooked the valley. That was really cool. And so they were talking about tents and, you know, a fighting platform and where all these things are going. And I don't know why I thought about it. Maybe it was, you know, a movie I've seen or whatever. I said, why don't we put... I talked to Graham about this, and I said, why don't we put a canopy over the top? And not flat, but just like strips of it, you know? And we can get rid of them or open them or whatever we want to do, but we could make this, you know, this kind of a canopy. It'd be really, and especially, you know, everything is movement, so great. I mean, wind everywhere and movement and, you know, shears, everything should kind of be moving. And she would go in and out of hot streaks if the sun was there, and it was really, it turned out a lot better than we thought. It was great.
Don't look for your opponent. Know where he is. I'm blind, yet I see more than any of you, because I don't look.
And action!
Blessed with the physical skills of Kirsten, who can do her own fights, and there's Big Sister watching out. It adds to the realism that you're still looking at the actor or actress and not a stunt double's back and silhouette.
Kirsten, you know, who did a great emotional job in this movie. This kid will be the untouchable soon in many ways. But she's incredibly fit. For her age, red belt in Taekwondo, that's a pretty good thing.
I'd done 1 year in Taekwondo, and I'd taken a while off, so it was a little bit rusty. So when we first stretched, I went, oh my. I couldn't do a karate kick, really, because I hadn't done it in such a long time, but right now I can kick like right above my head. It's amazing. If I'm not in school, then I'm either practicing with the bow stick or my bracelet.
Neck round! And action!
Cut.
Cut!
That was really good.
Come round you.
It was good. Mike Gunther did a great job for me.
I was there on the drill today. I didn't know, you did the thing and I forgot about the get back up and the spank back down. Like, excuse me, I thought I told you to stay down there. Very good.
That was so good. And the poses and the lines of it were like fantastic. We train differently for every fight. You know, for example, I learned to use a bow stick for a fight that we did earlier this week. I've been training for that for a couple of months now. Several hours Saturday, several hours on Sunday. You know, hours when you take the 30 minutes here and 30 minutes there, put together after work during the week. And at one point they had these huge fans on me and I have all this hair, you know, and all this hair was covering my eyes and I was fighting blind against 5 guys. But I was so rehearsed that I knew that if I just put my stick where it was supposed to go, that the fight would go right. And there I was, I couldn't see anything, but I heard the click, click, click of my stick hitting theirs, and it was exhilarating. It was so much fun, and that's why I train so hard, and that's why I rehearse so hard, because then you get there on the day and you're not worried. They could blindfold me, they could hang me upside down, and I can do that fight.
She comes in with such dedication and such a rigid way of orchestrating each day of her life that she knows that she can achieve what she needs to achieve, and she doesn't let the outside, interference affect her. If it does start to come in, she blocks it off. It can't happen. She's got to stay straight ahead. I can't say enough adjectives. I mean, she impresses me every day. I said to her, I gave her a hug one day, and I just said, I only wish when I grow up I can be like you. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for her.
You'd think I was like operating on somebody. I look so serious there. I love operating the crane because it can be a very lyrical recording tool. I think a lot of the focus is that little tiny screen you're looking at, which is 60 feet wide in the theater, and you can't overlook things.
I think I hit a couple of ninjas that time.
It's like a dream come true as far as your first movie is to do something like this. It's going to be kind of a high-profile show, I think, and to do it anamorphic and kind of old style in a way.
All right, so go 75, and you go 40, and we're racetrack from there to there, to there, to there.
The thing about it, I notice that people if they have 5 cameras, they want to put them in. Well, 2 of them might be right, and 3 of them might be wrong. I mean, that's how I feel about it. But if you're doing it the right way, you can actually use, like we use 3 pretty much when we were doing all those fight sequence stuff. And if you put them in the right place, they're terrific.
When you're shooting an anamorphic lens that the studio is graciously giving you the money, extra money to use, that's the lens. There's nowhere to go above anamorphic. And so you have to cherish the fact that you get to compose for anamorphic. There's a lot of ways I can come to the anamorphic result, one of which is it's the best looking film, it's the sharpest resolution, I could also say that growing up, the anamorphic movies that I watched, I thought were the most beautiful. And I thought, if I ever get there, that's what I'm using, because they look the best. For me, that we can see wider than we can higher, and so you don't need the height. I also love the way it frames close-ups, and I think that you can frame eyebrows and chin, which in television is a bit crowded because you don't have the width, and it's just a face up against the television screen. And I don't need to see the hair or the throat when I'm in like this. In television, it just sort of does that. Anamorphically, you've got relief and depth on the side, so it's not so intense. There's trade-offs, though. The focus is harder to maintain, and there's a lot of technical things that are arguments against them. But to me, and as I said on my very first meeting, with Tommy Imperato, he said, how do you want to shoot the movie? And I said, anamorphic. And I know he had budgeted for Super 35, maybe 185, I don't know. And he said, why? And he goes, because that's the way movies are shot. In my opinion, that's the way it should look. On Elektra, we're not going to have so much money that it's just going to be dripping with class and taste and value and huge sets. But she is a classy woman. Jennifer's a classy woman. Elektra is an archetypal character. There's just these little touches of class that I will try to add to the movie along the way, including the way I light it, that will make it seem elegant. I've heard that people love lens flares. The anamorphic flare, to me, makes it feel like you're photographing this, because otherwise the lens wouldn't be flared by the light. Well, if there's lens flares, the flare can only come from a light hitting the lens, so it's got to be there. And it just closes the gap of allowing the audience to stay in the movie and the realism and in the sort of the sober tone of the movie. And they're just kind of beautiful and cool, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so is the concept that basically she catches him, she catches him here, and the rest is a release? She does not pogo stick him all the way to the ground?
No, it kind of flicks it off.
Flicks it off. Okay. Can I see it one more time?
Sure.
If you do that, that's very helpful.
Okay.
Now, let's focus on one more thing: is altitude. Height.
Well, if we're gonna do this big move, if she's gonna lift this guy off, then we better do it and not do some half-hearted one. So, Marcus, get to jump in there and let's get up.
Now you're talking. Okay.
One, two, go!
I tell you, these stunt people really, they sold out for me, and there's my queen in the middle of all of it. Terrence is not the kind of guy you get to know. Terrence will get to know you if he wants to. It doesn't go the other way.
Action camera, action fighting.
He's a grand old man, and he came in just the other day to do looping for me, and just the definitive professionalism. When you do an ADR and you want different things, and he's standing in front of a mic, re-recording dialogue he did while he was freezing cold or something. It's just like, yes, Governor. Yeah, absolutely, sir. Yes. So.
Speed.
Romeo 9, take 3, A-mark.
E-mark. Background. Background. Action.
I didn't do nothing wrong, and I'm getting kicked out. Oh, God, it hurts to watch her do that. Makes me sad. She can, and she's probably laughing right now. It is a skill.
Background. Action, Goran. Action.
This is Dad looking for daughter. I ultimately didn't need this scene either. I didn't need it because it wasn't about their worry. The movie takes on a life of itself, an editorial, and if you become sensitive to it, it'll start to tell you what it wants and what it doesn't want. At this point, Elektra's going off to face Kurigi to secure the future of the little girl. This is not an unimportant scene, but it was less important than the life and death match between Elektra and Kurigi.
They're gone, both of them.
I told Abby not to go. She's more willful than Elektra. Paul, best ready the men.
Go where?
Goran's character, Mark, the exciting part of his journey is kind of over when the movie begins. He's kept Abby alive and away from the bad guys for a year or two. So Mark is basically, you know, what Goran used to say is, you know, he sort of feel like the mailman who's dropped off the mail, but I'm just not leaving, right?
Electra has left the compound. I presume to draw Kariga's hand. Your daughter has followed her.
What? He's not becoming a person. He's not growing. Electra's going through a huge overhaul internally. Abby's got a reveal, a surprise for us. Mark is there to protect her, period.
Sorry.
Cut.
And that's what Electra admires about him. That's what she loves about him. But it doesn't give Goran a lot of things to play. And had a lot of trouble on the set with me saying, what am I doing in this scene? What is my objective in this scene? And I would say, to protect your daughter. You said to me the last 30 days. I know, but that's what you're here to do. You know, and you'll do anything to do that. It's noble. You're just the guy on the bluff in the gun turret who just, you know, ever vigilant. And your daughter is still alive, so you've accomplished it. And Goran was concerned that because he had not had what he felt was a required or typical arc, that he didn't know if he'd pulled it off. I'd say, cut, print, great job. And he goes, was it? What was I doing? I said, just protecting your daughter. I gotta say, I think it would have made many an actor come apart at the seams to try to play such a slippery role. And eventually he just surrendered to me and said, when you say print, then I know that you're good, because if I think about it, I'm gonna go nuts. And he just rolled over and said, you know, I'll just do what you asked me to do. I'll just bring my preparation to the set.
Once again, please.
Good for the actors.
Yes, it was.
I saw the editor's cut, the first assembly, and he nailed it. And I called him right up because I knew he was worried. And, you know, we used to go bike riding in Vancouver together on the weekends, and he was always like, am I doing okay? And I said, you're doing great. And then I called him and said, you're just like the Rock of Gibraltar. And he's a sweet, sweet guy, too.
Cut, print, both of us. Cut, print.
Speed on three. Speed on three. Call it. We're set and action. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now!
Okay. Everybody's good, okay. Okay, let's take a look.
That one. Yeah. That's a money shot. Well, the whole idea here was the entire frame was travel and debris.
And you got that.
And we got that. And that makes it feel like they're hanging up there for a while. Okay.
I was pretty insistent that we go red this time too, because that is the #1 thing that happened on the street is people said, you should have been in red. And I thought, well, if I had been in red and Ben had been in red, it would have been a very red movie, but okay, I'm in red. It's all in there.
Make that feel as hard as you can, Jennifer and Kirsten.
Okay.
Because theoretically just come from that window.
It is a couple feet up there.
This is the Electra movie, and you know, we wanted to make sure that we took as many steps towards the tradition of Electra as possible. The free-flowing sort of toga look, whatever it's called, that Electra is known for in the comic is beautiful, but very impractical for an actress to actually wear and to fight in. We wanted to be a distinctly different look and bring her closer to what Frank Miller originally created.
Electra is such an opportunity to play materials and colors and flow and make things that that you cannot take your eyes off her on the screen. And in movie one, because Daredevil was red, then we had to compromise a little bit. We had one red thing, if you remember. Now she's on her own. It's not a sequel. It's Electra. And we could really go in and just take care of her. And I think the costume came in fantastic. And it's the kind of a scene that you can wear anywhere.
This is the living room. When I was looking at this set, I didn't even have the scene written yet. I just knew that I needed a big cathedral and something operatic to play out the final battle in the movie. Makes me anxious just looking at those things. I feel like I have to prep the movie again.
And wind and sheets. And 3, 2, 1, action. 3, 2, 1, action. Cut. That's gotta be it. Okay, let's just move on. We're not gonna look at that again. All right. So Johnny. Yeah. Okay, there's Jennifer. Right? There's the rip. Okay, go right 1 inch.
Basically, you're on the crosshair here. An inch left of the crosshair. The right arm.
I'm too old and too tired to know all that. Just say right or left. Just tell me where you want it.
1 inch right.
1 inch right. Is that where you want it?
Originally, the swords were so long, and I think there was some kind of phallic connotation to having just a really long sword. But when we were trying to work with it, it was impossible to, especially because the sides are only this big, and the sword that I had was actually built for Shaq. I mean, it wasn't built for him, but it was that big, and it was impossible to do. I mean, somebody would have got hurt, so they trimmed it all down, and it's now a definite workable fight.
The rip is driven by you?
Yes, sir.
So what he has to do is he has to basically chase your zipper.
I studied for a long time. You know, my father was one of the first Taekwondo masters to come to the United States, so I studied ever since I was a little kid. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely helped in rehearsals.
Ready. And action.
Running complete.
Cut. Ready and action. Cut. How was that? Good. Good. 2 in a row. Let's move on. Next shot. Okay, Will's out. Electra tries Kimaguri.
Down here and I get so mad.
Yeah.
And I strike and I remove the sheet. And that doesn't help me. I anger and I strike again.
I can't think of anyone who could have tackled this job other than Rob Bowman. He sees things like a film, but he can run things like a TV show. He can run on his feet. He can change everything at a moment's notice. He comes in with a firm idea of what he wants, but is not married to it and is ready to go on the fly if somebody sees something better. He's collaborative. He is so incredibly knowledgeable and smart and opinionated in the comforting way that you want a director to be opinionated without being in love with his own opinions. So if that doesn't tell you how I feel about Rob Bowman, I don't know what does. Sometimes I'll say to him, give me something fun to play here. And sometimes I'll say, just get off the set and say rolling because I'm ready. I know what I want to do, and then you can mess with me. And we have a great working relationship because we give each other the respect and the space that we can tell the other one needs.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, here comes the wind.
We're set.
I got to operate the really fun one, hand crank camera. You know, I've always wanted to use it. I know Panavision has a bunch of them laying around. They just took all the gearing out of it and they just put a crank on there, and you can speed it up or slow it down.
The thing that it gave us is spontaneous reaction to a moment that you're photographing, right? So Bill always did the hand crank camera, and he's watching Jennifer, and when she does something, or he can anticipate she's about to do something. He can crank it up and move into slow motion. So it's a very alive photographic capture experience or device. The problem is, as you speed up and slow it down, your f-stop changes, and the density of the image changes. All of a sudden it gets dark and it gets bright and it gets light and dark. So there's very few images that actually work. And also it wiggles a bit because you're cranking the darn thing, you know? It's like, I don't know, how steady is your lawnmower when you're trying to start it? Not so. Now, in an action sequence, that's fine. And it does give you sort of a wickedly fractured image, and that's kind of cool. But it was all part of looking for the edge of the movie. Will Young Lee, who is Kurigi, he has enormous inner strength. When Will came in, he'd actually seen a lot of my X-Files and my other two movies, and noticed something, a choice that I had made about my villains, and he wanted to do it, and he wanted to do it with me, and that's why he took the movie. He says, I want to be a bad guy in one of your movies, because I got an idea. And so he wanted to be like the quietest villain that I'd ever had, because I think there's been enough noisy villains. I think there's been enough spectacular villains. Didn't need to try to outdo anybody. Thought I'd just make up my own.
Thanks for the lesson.
Let's go again.
This is a climax in the forest. We're almost at the end of the schedule here. A lot of it, you know, I came up with this doggone idea, these ninjas coming out of the tree, and it was a great pitch, and it was, oh, and then the ninjas will fall out of the tree, and then they'll be there, and then you realize it's like 25 descender rigs, and the hope that 25 stuntmen and martial artists will all look cool at the same time coming down. And they don't. You know, you get like 15 and 10 and 20 and 5, and if you're really lucky and help old ladies across the street, you get 24 and 1. But you don't get 25 guys looking cool in the same take. And with all the foreground elements, and it became very, very frustrating.
Again, do it again.
Well, we got enough pieces to make it work.
His catch was late again.
Will's catch was late, Josh? Is that what you said?
It was a little late, yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Notice
Thank you,
that
Will.
he's not man enough to say it to you.
No, I've been talking to Will all day. I was promoting you to say something.
Here we
to
go.
Will. We're rolling.
I tell you, half of it's jabbing each other, half of it's just a way to keep ourselves going. Is that we're keeping each other on our toes and critical of each other's performance during the day. And it's a little sort of a friction engine that keeps you going.
The war is over.
War's just begun. Move back, Abby.
I think there's ninjas coming in. I'm not doing anything, so... oh, God, I got it unlocked right before they came down. Jeez. Cut it close. Yeah, it's fun. It's very, you know, you can't make mistakes, especially here, because if I goof the shot and I'm the only one shooting the ninjas, then I gotta wait until they yank them back up there at, you know, half a mile an hour. Either I don't want to describe the shot, or I want to live the shot as it occurs, and I can grab things that somebody else might not grab just based on your own, the way you see things. And sometimes I'll grab the camera because I'm sick of standing around watching the movie be made. I love the weight of the camera, and what it does is it allows the other cameras to have to do strictly what I've asked them to do. And now I can take my camera and be sort of the wild card and grab bits and pieces. I can find things back and forth. It's accent pieces. But it also is me I like to keep my hands dirty and stay right there and right in the firing line there.
They're two different forests, kind of in a way. The big log scene, and then the wolf scene. I mean, they're very distinct, different kinds of forests, and which is very cool. I mean, the wolf one is an amazing piece of canopy of 200-foot trees. As far as camera concerned, well, when you do each one of them for about 4 or 5 days each, the weather seems to change quite a bit there. So one day it might be, beautiful sunshine streaming in and looking really cool, backlit and the whole thing. And then, the next day it could be overcast, and then the next day it'll be raining a little bit, and then all of a sudden the sun will come back out again. We were lighting this whole friggin', forest at one point. The sun was going down, and we were looking one way, and I mean, we had condors and lights up the ground, just trying to highlight the trees that would match something that we did 2 days ago.
The balloons were, if clouds came in, they destroy your ambient light. All of a sudden, all you've got is movie lights in the forest, and the background drops off. It was...
Start walking faster.
Seemed like a good idea in the beginning. It'll look beautiful in the end. It just was painstaking to maintain constant light levels. Goran, thanks for carrying Jennifer, but I couldn't use the shot. Didn't need it. I got out of the scene earlier than I thought I would.
Best explanation about my fighting style. We've been talking when we came on set with Mike Gunter is our stunt coordinator, and Marcus and all the guys. What we're gonna do, a little bit of kung fu, boxing, this and that. And Rob was like, you know what, guys? I see Mark actually as a guy who picks up everything from the ground, which is not like screwed in and hits people with. It's like street fight. I don't care what. Pick up a garbage can, hit the guy, and whatever. So it's basically, there's no style.
Action!
First couple of weeks I was working out with stunt guys because we didn't know exactly amount of fighting, what's going to be happening in the film, or what kind of style we've been discussing as we've been filming, because I didn't have anything in the first 20 days of filming. So I was working pretty much with the guys, but mostly on boxing, because they would be as close as the street fighting.
Cut! Trying to do with a 50.
We're down deep into the schedule. I'm surprised
We're all paying attention. Thor is coming out right now, please.
I'm probably just kind of irritable and I only have enough energy to talk about the shot. We were tired by this point. We were, just sleeping 4 hours a night, and I like the wolf. These wolves are, and I tell you, if they had the chance, they just rip your throat out. They're great to look at.
Give me the stick.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't be fooled by the licks, because they're deadly.
Yeah. You can let them go. Get your position. Here's the warm-up, guys. Warm up. Warm them up.
Well, there's one trainer that the wolves feel is the most inferior of the. Everything's about packs with wolves, and he's the lowest man. And the fact that he's, oh yeah.
Good boy.
When you hear that sound and you're actually there, it reminds you how far down the food chain we are. Yeah. That was just incredible. They're losing their fur. They look much lighter than they really do. The sound is it's blood curdling.
Okay, let's move. All right, Jay. Well, the idea right now is to let him go at it and see what we get. See how far we can actually film the real demand of the scene. And based on that, we'll design whether we need a CG wolf to replace that or to embellish those scenes, or whether we need to shoot those animals on green screen and lay them in as composites, or whether, we let Tengu's animal go to a digital representation of that character and then transition to a real one only for brief moments, where the interaction and the choreography really works.
Action!
Oh. Cut.
Okay, so we got the crew and the balloon in the shot, otherwise it was fine.
Mr. Chris, that's your cushion right there.
You just pull out of the light.
And Daddy, you're going to be facing that way.
Yeah.
El Tattoo, he'll have a number of characters, 5 characters, leave his body and come back to his body as a way for him to control or see things that are happening with Abby, Elektra, and Mark. It all starts with the design. Rob worked closely with an artist to develop the look of each character: a hawk, a tiger, a wolf, a spider, and a snake. Rob really wants these creatures to be, we've talked about, icky, strange, make you uncomfortable in a way when you watch them. They're not necessarily photorealistic representations of those animals, although they may become totally real at the right time.
I was just trying to distinguish the movie, and because they don't get the big building jumps and all that kind of stuff, what do they get? They get voodoo. They get the witch's cauldron. The movie lives within a sphere of Asian mysticism, right? Spheres is a bit of a wispy word, but that's okay because it's not an Asian movie. It's not a kung fu movie.
Cut. Cut. Beauty.
It wants its own identity separate from a superhero movie. And the identity that it requires and demands is much like people might believe in or not believe in astrology. People might believe in or not believe in karma, good luck, prayers. That world, just a couple feet beyond hope, is the world of my movie.
Look behind you and snakes!
And I think I measured it, but if you're willing to believe it, people can do some pretty interesting things.
Action!
Cut. Run away, please.
Are you okay?
Loved working with the Chinese wire team, Master Chen Yan and all that on the first film. They did a fantastic job. We wanted this movie to be a little bit more grounded. Elektra is not, she's about physical brutality. She is an aggressive character at the beginning of this movie. It's hand-to-hand combat or throwing aside. She's just a very adept, well-trained assassin. And in order to really show that well in terms of the fight choreography, we wanted to have real brutal, close contact, impactful fighting.
Cut! Cut! Let's cut.
You hope that the masses will see a movie like this. Obviously, we're making it for, to be a commercial film, but you really only want the praise from a select group of people, and those are the people that grew up reading Elektra. It's all for the fans. When women come up to me and say, I am who I am because I read Elektra when I was a kid, I realize how much this role means to people, and I realize how much I don't want to screw it up for them.
Sorry, I switched hands.
All right, reset.
I miss having Ben around because Ben was such a huge Daredevil fan that he schooled me, and now it's kind of up to me. And I feel like I've got to make sure that Goran and Kirsten know their origins and why this story is so important and what's behind what we're trying to tell. And so I'm constantly making references to, well, an Elektra assassin, Frank Miller, is really trying to get across. And I think, who are you? What are you talking about?
Visual 1882 and take one guide track.
It's hard to just describe what I think about Jennifer in terms of a list because it's a bit overwhelming. As a professional artist, I have a monumental amount of respect for her because, you know, I think we all have things that challenge us and make us feel alive. Mine is making movies and trying to make them okay and make, you know, give the audience a run for their money. But it's hard.
Yeah. You guys gotta go slower.
It's just sweat. It doesn't just fall out of me. It's sweat. And when you get around somebody who I understand their process of how she gets to bringing to set what she does, which is by practicing the fights Saturday and Sunday and before work every day and working out so she looks good and she has energy, and then setting her lines and knowing her lines like that, I mean, every day. And on that schedule, there was no time to exhale. You just ran.
Keep us on the bell, no air, let's get a couple in a row. Thank you, and rolling.
Regardless of my state of mind, mood, frustrations with myself, the studio, anything, I've got to protect this woman. That she's counting on me to protect this part of her career as a step or as an arrival or whatever it's going to be. You know, once she comes to work and I'm directing her in a movie, she's thinking as a woman, you know, there's a period of time. And when she said that to me early on, hey, you know, unlike guys, us girls don't get to be in movies as, you know, pretty girls for very long. And I thought, oh man, the responsibility. I mean, I can't. Action! You know, for me, I can look terrible because I'm on camera, you know? As long as I get enough sleep to have the energy to direct, it doesn't matter what I look like, you know? As long as I'm there to be the storyteller. For her, she's got to do all the same stuff I got to do and look good. And 60 feet wide and 15 feet tall, you know, in 1,500 people in a big theater looking at her, judging her looks, judging her performance. They're not looking at me. Very impressive woman.
Cut, print. Fuck me.
God, awesome, great.
That's great. Okay. All right, so let's set up.
During the process of making the movie, I didn't feel like I could go home and watch anything as a reference. Like back when, you know, Tim Burton did this on Batman, well, it was a bigger movie. Back when John Ford, they didn't do them back then. Okay, there's nothing, I just have to go from my own instincts and impulses about what do I want to explore with Elektra and what is cinematic and what is ultimately, once I put it all together, entertaining for the audience. Feels like it might be something we haven't seen before. With all the comic book characters that are out there and waiting to be made into movies, maybe we can say, for a moviegoer, these are also really good kind of movies, which is they're just character studies, and they don't all have to be super huge and you know hyper speed fast. And of the big ones, there's some great ones that have been made. I mean, I always say that I love Sam Raimi. Now, because it may be by de facto a new form, I better make a great movie. How do I do that with the circumstances? So, I don't know, just work hard and keep digging, and hopefully that's the way it'll be received.
You're slipping, Elektra. Come on, let's go. Push, push, push.
We'll take the Karigi
killed mom stuff. And in the sheet fight, when she goes into Kimagure and she sees all those really weird shots of Kariki sword fighting,
Yeah.
put that stuff there.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the sheet fight, she'll realize that Kariki killed her mother, which will of course make her nuts. And then he'll actually finally appear and he'll just drop her with a one shot.
Right.
So right when she finds out information that would give any of us reason to kill him, she can't do anything with him.
Okay.
And just continually beat her down until she has her mythic ascension.
What do you think of coming out with Kariki kind of still mocking her?
Absolutely.
You like it?
Yeah.
Where she sort of goes back, visits her father.
Yeah.
Why don't we make him a little bit more, use the take where you had him a little more sensitive, so if you want to redeem him here,
change the performance.
Yeah,
But leave the other performance the way it was.
Pre-lap this, put her right back in there.
You don't need the little girl here, do you?
No, I think you just keep it with
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
That's really cool. So glad I thought of that. Yeah. Fucking do it, dude. Cool. Is this your invention?
Nope, this is Carol, who was our Canadian assistant.
Oh,
did this 2 pictures ago for us. I mean, we've always had these. We've never had the photographs. She makes them.
What it does is as you're cutting, you get lost in the movie. You're in a reel and a sequence, and the rest of it becomes a blur. And it's nice to step back objectively and look at in each reel, what are the scenes in what order in each reel, instantaneously.
Come on, Electra. Keep it. 5 more minutes. Use your feet, don't use your hands. You can do it.
For instance, in terms of the flashbacks, I'll point for you. We know that there's a flashback there, and there's a flashback here, and then we can scan real quickly and see, okay, we don't have any flashbacks until, almost near the end of reel 4. So we can feel our balance of those ideas throughout the thing. We can see the flow. We can see what scenes need pacing up rhythmically. We can also get a sense for the time in between emotional beats and the time in between action beats, and it's all done at a glance.
Keep going, Electra. Keep going.
And I've never done it before, but boy, I think it's fantastic. And when you restructure stuff, you just move the pictures around, so it just keeps you organized, and it's also something nice to do when your brain melts and you want to stop editing. You just stare at it and pretend like you're actually doing something. There you go, the big board. But we don't just let anybody, because we can't let them come up and see the big board. Remember that from Strangelove?
That's right. Big board.
It's the big board. If you let him in, he might see the big board. And then here's this is my house at Christmas time. It says Rob's house, but it was a prettier shot than Mark's house exterior. That's actually a photograph of my house at Christmas time. That's freaky.
Keep going, Electra. Keep going. You're slipping, Electra. Come on, let's go. Push, push, push.
Is that cool? It sure seems cool to me. I hope I'm crazy about it, but it sure seems like it's... I definitely think we're onto something here, because when she comes up in that pool, it is freaky as heck.
That's creepy.
It's really creepy, because when you see it the first time in the movie, it's just sort of odd and like a quiet eeriness, like she's just a troubled inside. And it also makes Dad, you sort of feel sympathetic towards Electra, like her dad was a jerk, drove her too hard. And now, the context is different. Now he's like, come on, get up, keep going. And so you understand
what he was thinking, which is, if I can drive her to understanding you can never give up, then it gives, it's still tough love, but he's trying to help her there.
Keep going, Electra. Keep going.
You want to hear this?
These are the DVD guys. Yeah. This is my dad. He's he's laying down the temp tracks for Terrence Stamp, who's in another country right now, I think. Okay, play it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Since time began, a battle has been fought. It is simply the struggle between good and evil. It can be fought on a grand scale or within the heart of a single individual, a child even. Fatherless sons, motherless daughters, shredded from loved ones to make them more vulnerable, forced to choose sides, forced to choose destinies.
Would you say your dad in some way has been inspiration growing up in having your dad do radio and stuff?
Even more fundamentally, if my dad did move to California, I'd be running a rodeo right now. Back in the Midwest. Yeah, of course. Exposure to, working in the entertainment industry. But I think initially it was just how many movies we watched as a family when I was a kid, and I've said before, they just knew all the directors and the actors' names, and they knew everything about all the movies. And so movie watching was more than just a casual experience. There was just I think a bit more acute eye to what was going on. I remember I said the way I remember it, I don't know if it's true, but the way I remember it was around the time I was about 4. We were at Aunt Lola's house, and every Christmas Day, I think, we would watch Wizard of Oz. And I think after the first time I saw it, I turned back to them and I said, how did they do that? And it started my interest in not just this sort of the magic and wonder of the movies, but they have to make it somehow. And how do you make that? How do you make the monkeys fly? And how do you do that? And then just, he's been in it his whole life, my whole life. Since I've been alive, he's been in some form of the entertainment industry. So I would say we just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. It's not so much the things that were said and done, it's just the exposure.
There she goes, independent, the rogue warrior till the end. Her destiny is her own, waiting out there, somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, best cadence. Can I ask you to do one or two at where it's more colored towards the lines, like when you talk about the hand? Yeah. That those are the scary bad guys, and they do weird things like black magic. Yeah. And then when you talk about Electra, there's more of a tragic undertone to it. Maybe just a bit more dramatic.
Gotcha.
Version.
Let me get the get the pages.
Is it hard giving your dad notes?
After him giving me notes for the first 18 years of my life, it's perfectly fine. No, he's good. He used to be in the radio news, so he understands what I'm asking for very clearly. I don't ask him if it's hard to take notes from me.
Of course. Yeah, payback time.
Yeah. Okay.
I listen carefully to the director. Whatever he says goes.
All right, so let's, we'll see if that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's the plight of the treasure to be the sort of the rope in a tug of war. Yeah. And that you're getting, you got Clydesdales on both sides pulling on you. Yeah. And it's a bit more tragic.
Gotcha.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Dana.
It's freaky. Did you cut out Electra?
That's pre-lap.
It will all be over soon.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Kimaguri, the Typhoid Abbey scene. Have we earned the audience's understanding that that's really happening? Or do we have to show it? Do we have to Kimaguri it and show it untreated?
No, I think we've left her in jeopardy.
We established it that she's really there. Okay, right.
Yeah.
And we blew on her the first time in first person.
Right.
Okay. All right. Good. All right.
I think so.
Okay.
This is a chem which has been around for probably 30, 40 years, and you started out as an upright machine, which they still use sometimes, but very rarely, called a moviola. This is a flatbed. The reels are typically 1,000 feet, which is about 10 minutes, and we shot 500 of these, which is, 500 10-minute reels, which I don't know, what is that? A lot of 500,000 feet of film, which is a lot of footage.
The synchronizer lets us know how many feet and frames we are into a spool of film, because it's not that easy to guess when you're winding film as quickly as we are. And in this business, time is of the essence.
You have to find the pieces that we're going to use, cut them out with actually a splicer and Scotch tape, and put them together into one giant roll so they know how to cut the negative and put a permanent reel together for everybody to see in the movie theater. And there's a beautiful splice.
Enterprise, Riker. How are you? Yeah, but I got time for you. What's up?
It will all be over soon.
Well, we're not free, but we're cheap. Tonight's fine. Just don't fuck up my football game. Okay. All right. See you. Bye.
We've had the studio notes for a week, and they love the movie a lot. And the notes, I have to say, were very supportive, and just asking to look at a few different versions of things. And I think the neatest thing was they weren't actually able to put their finger on, this is what makes this film cool in terms of a scene. You say Raiders, the ball chasing Indiana down the cave, or the truck chase. Those make that movie great. Whatever it is. This one, it was more of a sum total reaction to, there's a thing about that movie I really like, is what Rothman said. So just trying to address, their notes, being protective of whatever that magic formula is, because you never know when you change the recipe, where does it fall apart?
Just so you know, Kev, I prefer that 3/4 on Jennifer to that head on.
Yeah, okay.
It just doesn't look that good.
The one thing he did say that was great was, here's what we have right now. We have a movie that's get it right.
Yeah, read.
I want to make sure I say it right. Rothman said it's minimalistic, aesthetic, mythical, and emotional.
Okay.
That's what he likes about it on the director's cut. He says, whatever we do to the movie between now and later, it still has to be that. So, which really puts sort of a governor on their notes in terms of, they're suggesting try this, try that, try this, try that. Let's make sure we don't lose what we have.
I was gonna put another cut of her reacting after Dad.
In the pool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going electric.
Okay.
Tell me if this is too much. Pre-lap, and pre-lap Abby's over this and go right into Kimaguri.
Well, you're welcome to try it.
You want to try it?
Yeah. I'm sure Rothman will get it the first time he sees it.
But it's kind of like a cluster headache.
No fucking way, Bowman. Yeah, but Tom, it's cool. Cool my ass. I don't get it. I want arrows and balloons. For Kevin and I, the hard part is we worked our butts off getting this thing into shape for the director's cut, and I have to say there's very little we didn't think of. And so when you get any note, you think we've already been down that road, and but you know, just it's not always fun or easy to find a different, better way to do it. I mean, a lot of times when you recut it, all you do is make it different. You don't make it better. It's tight, and it makes him and I work a lot. You know, weekends and stuff. And the problem with that is what you're accomplishing through keeping the gloves on is getting the work done. And what you're at risk of doing is losing objectivity.
What do you think about that? We're mixing Kimaguri and flashback.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't mind mixing Kimaguri and flashback theoretically.
Yeah.
I don't like coming off of Jennifer's face. Because you're
Yeah.
going back to her at the well is what I really like. Like, the big picture is, you know, it feels to us like the movie comes out like day after tomorrow, and there's just not a lot of time to experiment. You know, you sort of got to shoot to kill, and because it's October, middle of October, and we're dubbing and scoring in when? November?
Yeah.
In movie time, that's a blink. So we can't mess around too much. So.
Kimaguri, a skill of the complete warrior. But of course, the second life is never quite like the first. There she goes. Independent, the rogue warrior till the end. Her destiny is her own. Waiting out there, somewhere.
Thank you very much. Cool.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Are you going today?
Yeah.
See you. All right, man. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Cool. And then we'll rewrite it and we'll have it back. Yes. Next few weeks is going to be identifying what additional photography we will or won't need, organizing that, shooting that. That really is the thrust of the next few weeks. And then getting all that footage cut into the movie, and then blocking the movie and put music and sound effects on it.
Since time began, a battle has been fought. It is simply the struggle between good and evil. It can be fought on a grand scale or within the heart of a single individual, a child even. Fatherless sons, motherless daughters, shredded from loved ones to make them more vulnerable, forced to choose sides, forced to choose destinies. The good present themselves simply. The evil take many forms, call themselves many names. These days, they prefer the euphemism, the hand. They explore more venomous and malevolent means, black magic for those willing to sell their souls. Legend tells of a unique warrior, a soul undeclared. It is said that the warrior is a woman, that it is her destiny to tip the balance between good and evil. She is called the Treasure, and both sides seek her out. But in the land of legend, much is unknown. Electra's part in all this was unfinished. She had died before her time. Her soul needed to be returned to her body, so I brought her back. But of course, the second life is never quite like the first.
Cool. I think the first one's the best one. Ironically, I don't know why. And I don't think you need the text, because we, in the last cut, we had a scroll.
Like a
We had
roller.
all of that text that my dad is reading over, you know, the stuff you sent us on the JPEG, right? It was over. It's like you're
It's
listening.
overloaded. Yeah, exactly.
You're reading, and I started to feel like if they're speaking, he must go off text. At some point, you feel like, well, maybe he's going to be saying something that I can't read. So you really pay attention to the voice. Meanwhile, you're watching the text, and behind that's an image, and it's just overwhelming. It feels like an assignment more than like getting pulled into a cool movie. So we'll have to figure out how we intro the Electra title card, because I don't like the sort of the stream. To me, it was because she is an archetype. She's an archetypal character. She's from Greek mythology. Like, she's not just a curiosity that we made a movie about. She is a legendary character. And so, to me, the point of that font was that it was like chiseled in stone. You know, I remember the old FBI with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. and it was the Mark IV production.
The Mark IV production for Dragon at the end too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of like that, but I don't want to do that. But that's a little bit of what I had in mind, was that it was in stone.
You know, I read this
I have one
versus
question.
that.
What's the chicken in the opening image?
The chicken in the opening.
There's a chicken.
There's a chicken?
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't see
a chicken? I didn't see a chicken.
There's a chicken.
No, it's the two.
Well, it's
I
the
think
first
there were
thing.
shields.
It's the first one.
Oh, it's actually it's off Greek pottery. It's these two guys fighting. It's two guys fighting.
Hang on, it's a chicken. That's a chicken.
Oh, it's a chicken on the shield.
Nobody knows that's a chicken.
Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We'll make that into a dragon.
You know.
And then everybody say why the dragon. We'll say, well, because it's Rob's movie.
Yeah, when you're talking about the battle between good and evil, you got to have a person in a white outfit with a sword and a person with a black outfit and a sword. So it's like really simple. The chicken might mean something to some culture somewhere, to like Louisiana voodoo artists, but not too much to my audience.
What's that one? Is that the dragon you
It's
were
the
talking
dragon.
about?
He goes
I
up to the
see.
dragon and
I
comes
got
off his
you.
tattoo.
Steel Moss from Rain of Fire.
Got it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
Thank you all. Thank you, Lynn.
Kevin, thanks.
Nice to meet you.
We'll see you again.
Okay.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
I've spent weeks at a time just creating sound effects. We had a black belt in Taekwondo come in and bring several weapons, and we recorded sais, bow sticks, another thing called screamas or shorter sticks to use in the different fight scenes.
And the katana, the sort of long neck Kuriki uses.
Yeah, we didn't do those ones. Those ones are very difficult because they're not so legal to carry around. But we did training swords. They're made out of bamboo. And there's a couple of scenes when they're training in this film. Well, in this case, we're lucky that a lot of the music that I'm working with in this sort of preview mode is from the composer. It's not made out of temp scores from other movies. So it's music that I'm actually going to be hearing in the final. This is definitely from Christoph Beck, our composer. It's got a Q1M5. And so I can design the sound effects that will work with this music, timing-wise, the same tonality, everything. So that's what we've been doing a lot of, which has been great. And you don't get a chance to do that very often. Yeah, what happens is we do that and we think, oh, everything is great, and we go to the final mix and we listen to the music and we just go, we have to start again. Or for example, when DeMarco meets his demise here at the end, he drops his glass, right? There's a shot of him dropping his glass. So if I wasn't working with music, I could put in, it's a slow-mo drop, so I could put in some really interesting sounds to accentuate that. But when I listened to the music, which was doing this, you went, okay, subtlety is not going to work here. Whereas if you listen to that without music, I got. So you don't hear any of that in the mix.
I'll give it to somebody else.
They wouldn't pay that to
It's a tool that we build the sound bit by bit in a linear fashion. So I'll get the music and I'll sit with Rob and Kevin, picture editor, and we'll go through all these sequences, and they'll say, oh, can we add an effect here, or can we play the music lower, or can we move that dialogue later? And bit by bit, we build the soundtrack like that in the system, and it's all together, so it's great. You can hear everything at once, which is what technology has changed for us. Because before we couldn't do that. You have dialogue playing over here and music on another system somewhere else, and the only time you hear it together is when you're doing your final mix. This is a Kimaguri section where she's seeing a wolf fight that's going to happen. And there's a certain sound that takes us into these Kimaguris. It's a flash effect. And you'll hear that throughout the movie, and you'll know. And then once you're into the Kimaguri, the specifics of what actually is happening are there, but it's all jumbled up. It's not... So here, she's trying to find this guy in the sheets. He can move the sheets around the room and hide behind them. So she uses Kimaguri. She closes her eyes and is trying to fight him.
Wouldn't give you up. We made them pay.
She thinks she's going to have a Kimaguri, and we have the sounds for that, entering it. But she ends up having a flashback as well. At the BNI, I would have to go ask those guys, okay, so what's going on here? They would tell me, well, is that a nightmare, or is that a flashback? I can't tell the difference. As we've gone along with what they're doing with the picture and what we're doing with the sound, we really define the moments. We're going to be mixing starting next week, so we've finished preparing most of the sounds. We are preparing it for the mixing stage. And that means taking what we've done and separating into different groups of sounds. So we will separate our sword whooshes into groups, the punches and body falls into different groups. So then we can mix that on the dubbing stage. And we're also doing some more previews. That's why I'm going to keep working on this temp mix, so we can show it to more audience members and get more feedback.
Basically, the visual effects supervisor's role is to kind of look at all the shots and break them down and try to figure out the best way, creatively and technically, to pull off a shot. So, in looking at shots for, like with the Hawk, and especially with Elektra, basically the villains had the magic powers. They had the evil powers, and those were what were all going to be done with effects.
I think that the biggest challenge for the Hawk was to recreate a feather coating that is very particular to a bird. We used fur mainly on the head and the legs, and everything else here is in sense geometry.
We wanted the reality of Elektra to be a very hard reality, very gritty reality. So we did try to take any of the anything magical that might happen was a process where, like with Tattoo, it was something very physical. It was something that was going to actually hurt him if it came out of his body. So you actually see his skin warping and moving around. And then with the case of the Hawk and the Hawk going back in, the Hawk's actually reaching out and clawing and digging its claws into Tattoo to pull itself back into his body as it turns back into ink. The common thread that ties all the different creatures together from Tattoo is the idea of the ink. So that, like later on in the movie, when you see Abby actually slicing into a wolf, it explodes into ink. And when the snakes are actually destroyed at the end, they actually blow up into ink as well.
So this shot basically starts out with a ninja who's going to die with some interactive light on one plate, and another plate of just the background with some lighting flashes. And my job was to composite in this effect that came from our 3D department, from our effects people.
The idea that as the ninjas die, whatever their soul, their energy is, just gets sucked down into a point. The light is pulled down, then the smoke inherits all that motion and swirls around. So each ninja dies in a slightly different way. They all turn to smoke, but the idea is that these two ninjas are, they're not part of Kriege's, task force. They're not his group of the major villains. So these guys, their death is a little bit more mild in terms of how they turn to smoke.
This was a pretty cool shot, actually, because it's got a lot of different elements to it. It's got, well, the spider, which is kind of a hard-bodied surface, which is more traditional lighting. But then it's also got effects elements, which you can see here. We've got some sort of blobby elements from the effects animators that we end up lighting. And what we try to do is basically marry the two. When we put it all together, we get this guy right here. Then we just add a quick little spider web to it, so he's kind of coming down on a little web.
So I animated the wolf coming out of Tattoo's belly here. It's a bit challenging because there's no real reference of wolves coming out of anyone's bellies, so we had to find a look that was somewhat realistic.
There's reference you can look at. We looked at a lot of stuff with wolves attacking and things, but there is nothing of a wolf coming out of a guy. This particular effect recalls Alien, because we all know that. I mean, I don't care how old you are, if you saw that once, if you saw it 100 times, you will never forget the way that looked. And so, without the blood and the guts and the gore, we at least wanted to try to get that same feel.
So I animated this beginning shot of the snake sequence, which comes at the end of the film. It started out originally as a trailer shot, which was quite a bit different. It was a little bit more simple. There weren't as many snakes, but it was something that was just going to be cut down to 2 seconds just to see what was there. And this was kind of like a test run for what was to come. But then for the real shot, which was going to grow from just this 2 seconds to about 10 seconds, the character Tattoo was going to have to walk all the way up to camera and have all these snakes roll off his body and come all the way out and transition into all what's considered effects snakes, which I don't personally animate, but an effects program takes care of.
How many you have in there?
I have 25 snakes that I'm hand animating, and I think there's about 800 effects snakes that are all being handled by the effects artist.
So do you want to run through?
Let's go.
Okay. We have a lot, 30 shots today again.
Wow.
Now.
Has anybody got a poker or a pointer or?
Oh God, mine's
I got.
mine.
And these are all for the F word?
Yes, all 6 are for final.
Okay. Yeah, everything's for.
Okay. That's a stick extension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those lines look good. We can take that. Nice. We'll take that.
That's cool.
Creepy.
Ooh.
Final that.
Cool.
All finals so far.
Great.
Nice. That camera shake that's better camera shake. The other one's too just wiggled and there's no concussion on it.
Okay.
On the first one. That's probably okay. So, no.
Let me talk to Dan. Dan is really good at
That's a
camera
final on
shake.
the knife.
Okay.
That's the final right there. Nice.
I got a couple comments.
Yes, sir.
Rob, on
Yes,
the camera shake on the tree fall. I don't know if we need any except for that final one where she lands. That's the only one I requested. I don't know if we need it on any of the other shots.
Yeah, I mean that's
But-
a creative thing. It's,
Yeah.
we don't, we could say it should be there because of the physics, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have
the
to be there.
explosion, but I don't.
So you want it on the?
I just mainly needed it on shot of her landing on top of it.
All right, so
We
take
should
all the
take
other
a-
camera shakes
well,
out.
Let's take a look at it and see. Maybe.
Well, I don't. It's hard to judge until you cut it together.
Yeah.
Because that's where you notice the mismatch.
Yeah.
Now, final.
You want it? Should we go back?
Well,
Yeah, let's go back.
I just want to make sure that tree is cut in half. And the last version I saw, there was 90% of the tree was still there.
Yeah.
Now there's so much debris I can't tell. So either way, you know, if I can't see it, they can't see it. I just want to make sure that we cut a sausage slice out of that tree.
Right, we asked them to increase the negative space there.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, we can go forward.
I can't tell, so it's fine. You okay with that, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right. These are all finals. Right? Good. Final.
Ooh.
That's just one piece? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So those cut
two
together?
shots, yeah, they cut together.
That's not Shauna, that's Kylie. Yeah.
Throwing the
Kylie.
piano?
Kylie, she actually had a better face match to Jennifer. She also was the one who ran on the rafters in the DeMarco thing.
Oh, cool.
Okay, we can go forward.
That's a good camera. That's a great shot.
Are we sure now that those fires are going to cut?
Nice. That's cool.
We'll
Final.
give you the quick times.
Okay.
What's the final? Wow.
That was a wire removal.
I think they matched the out of focus going out the window very well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, and they tried to put them a
That's
little
okay.
more in darkness to
That's okay.
not bring attention to the out of focus.
Cool. Final.
These you saw yesterday.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. We tried to call you down, but we couldn't get through.
dead.
Oh.
Sorry, Rob.
Sorry, bud. That's great. You want to final that?
Love it.
Final it. Great. That's great. Final that. Final that. Very cool. That's all great. That's all great. And then all of a sudden, hey, come on, keep on. Keep
Yeah,
going,
you
keep
know
on,
what?
come on,
They
come on.
shipped this before we gave them the comments yesterday.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
so that's a NG.
All right, final that. Typhoid.
Okay, Rob, ready?
To say it?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Final.
There's a little bit of dirt by his right hand. I should check that.
Final.
Okay.
Final.
Dirt in between her head and her arm.
Okay.
You can sure see Shauna's body stocking.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get away with that.
What's that?
A foot extension.
It didn't look like it.
Yeah.
So that foot extension's not enough.
Okay.
What's that?
Hair removal.
Yeah.
They were seeing a couple white hits in it.
All right.
Okay.
What else?
That's it?
How many shots we final?
A lot.
Okay.
The video's here. It got me coming in late on the video.
Yeah. Well, this is the least late you've ever been.
Oh, it's true. Usually I'm at least an hour and
late.
a half late. Yeah.
We're just glad Dan is sober.
Oh, see at the ranch. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Stuff for sound effect.
I need something in between the robotic playing with the click and the nice rubato we had that was out of sync with our pad. So something he could just play around the click a little bit more.
Okay. Just so you react to that.
Oh, them? I was reacting to this.
No.
These notes are wrong.
Well, it wasn't orchestral movie music that got the baby to calm down.
This should be an E flat.
Oh.
E flat, so that it moves kind of in parallel.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Let me just play it.
That's it. Do it again here. Soft pedal it.
In terms of drums as percussion, I just like a good pulse in a movie. There's only, I think, 2 drum kit moments that Vinny played for me. That was just nothing more than me being selfish and saying, okay, we got a drum kit. I could probably play what Christoph wrote. I mean, I could play what Christoph wrote. It's not that complicated. But we have to bring somebody in to lay it down. So they said, well, who are your favorite drummers? I used to come to the Flying Jib.
Oh, gee, get out of here.
Yeah, and I remember going there in 80, 79? Dave
Maybe.
Boroff,
Yeah, 81,
right?
82. Yeah.
And watching you play and thinking, this guy is a phenomenal drummer. Why is he here? And then
To have fun.
Well, yeah, obviously. And then when I saw you join up with Sting, I went, I knew it. I knew he was great. And
Unbelievable, man.
So it's a big thrill that you're here for me.
Thank you so much.
Vinny, I thought it'd be just really neat to have him play the drums. And so I said, can we get him? I mean, he's Vinny Colaiuta. He's like Sting's drummer. I mean, sort of a superstar. And they said, what do you mean? You're making Elektra. You got Jennifer. Do you know the fact that I'm in the room was part of the deal? Did they tell you that?
Right on.
I said, number 1, I'd like it to be Vinny. That'd be great.
That's so cool.
Number 2, it's a deal breaker if I'm not in the room.
Wow, you funny.
So Vinny came in and I was just instantly starstruck. He's so good. He is such a gifted drummer.
Let me do it again.
Yeah, let's go. I like that ending.
Cool.
Yeah. The reason to exploit his value is, as I said, I can play what Christoph wrote on my drums. I could have brought my drums in and done it. But it's Vinny's taste and the way he strikes the heads and the other things he brings that I tried to exploit in the, I think, the 2 hours we were there. Rockin'. Come in. I just like to
come in and check it out on the big speakers.
I like the big finish. If I don't use all the complicated stuff he laid down, if we just do it the way it was asked to be played, then I got to spend 2 hours in a booth with Vinny, and that was cool. Just watch him one more time. Ironically,
You've got one of my old
I got-
Yamaha snares. Holy cow, that's limited edition, bro.
Yeah. I brought, I think, 95.
Yeah.
And by the way, the person who chose this for me, Stuart Copeland.
No.
Went to the snare drum I have, Stuart Copeland, went to the Guitar Center in Hollywood and selected as the right drum, which I thought was interesting. I don't know what their relationship is, but Sting before, Sting now, you know, Police and whatnot. I told him what headphones I had to protect my ears when I play, and they're these old Koss Titanium Pro 4 AA's. And Vinny's, oh man, I haven't seen those for, so I just bought him a pair. Just sent them today. So he's gonna dig that. In this shot, she looks warmer than she does here. Boom, see how warm she looks there?
Well, she should be warmer there, Rob. She's got that back cross hitting her, which is from the house.
Okay, so you're okay with her?
Yeah, because look at, see the back of her head on the left one.
Fine, never mind.
That's like right here, matching.
Yeah, that's matching that, yeah.
When we first started, there was plans of no DI. Studio didn't want to do it. Well, you know, of course they didn't want to do it. I mean, it's a lot of money, but after we started, you know, thinking about it, and we finally the studio said, yeah, of course we're going to do it. I mean, they have a lot of effects that we have to blend in and all that stuff.
Digital Intermediate, it's all the tools and everything that Rob is used to for home video, and all the power windows and everything. We can implement that now into his film that is shown theatrically. Conventional timing, that they have just light valves, so they can make it darker, brighter, and more red. That's it. They can't go in and control individual colors or lighting. For him, it's very exciting to be able to do this and to have his film exactly the way he wants it.
It's just too white. It just needs to be more gold, because that key, this key looked chrome almost. And at the end of the movie, it's tarnished. So let's make that her glass of wine redder. No, I mean, like, make the whole glass like red. See the little red dot? We want the whole glass to be that red. Can you do that?
It's a visual metaphor for the ruby.
That's right. It's exactly. Can you put a flare on it? Nice.
I have a personal feeling about movies of this genre and big tentpole movies today. We are reliant so much on the visual effects and the wow factor that sometimes we forget that as humans we come into a movie theater to get moved and to have an emotional reaction to a story. So my hope with this story is that the people come in and sit down and meet this character and are curious about why she is the way she is, and they feel the evolution of her change.
Holy shit. Nice.
One of the things we have to thrive for is to make sure all our movies have a different tone, different look. Elektra could have been could have been dangerously action movie. This is really, I want to see her. I want to know what's driving her.
I just hope they feel it, because that's what was most important to me. I'll make it cool. I'm not worried about that. Cool can be figured out. Feeling it is that other dimension where the movie comes off the screen and into the souls or the hearts of the audience. That's the hard part. That was the objective of Elektra, and I hope that they're entertained, and that for me personally, they think I told a good story. Something worth seeing. What's this?
There'll be more coming. Get only what you need. We have to get out of here.
I mean, suck.
Oh no.